Hi everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my garden. We've had kind of an eventful morning this morning. I kind of got a late start. So there was an earthquake this morning. We live in Northern California, land of the earthquakes. Really, we don't get that many earthquakes because we're more inland. But of course, all along the Pacific coast, there are earthquakes, and there was a pretty significant earthquake this morning. I think it was like a 7.0, I think 6.0 to 7.0. People have said, multiple things. And I mean, I gotta be honest, I didn't even feel it, but apparently people in Sacramento, which is 20 minutes east of me, further away from the earthquake, they felt it in the high-rise buildings, and they even went home. The schools got evacuated, and so Jason and I have been sitting by our phones waiting to see if we need to go pick our girls up from school. They finally were let back into the school, but now there's a tsunami warning. I'm sure that'll get canceled. I'm sure it's, I appreciate the warnings, but I didn't even feel it. So anyway, it's been kind of a crazy morning. I'm getting a little bit of a late start, but today I am working in my shade garden. I can't call it my shade garden. It's my secret garden that I thought was a shade garden, but turns out only half is a shade garden. And that half is this side over here. So you can kind of see how I got mistaken with this garden. When we moved in the fall, and once I started kind of coming out here and I started assessing the light, I noticed that this garden looked like everything on the north side of this house, of my house, it looked like this was a shade garden. And so I had originally planned and planted up this garden as a shade garden. What is deceiving though is that as it gets more into summer and the sun gets higher in the air, this garden, what is a nice shade garden at this time of year in winter, it becomes a blazing hot sun garden, except for right over here, right next to the house. So it's just kind of a confusing area. It's a sun transition area is what you call it. You all know how much trouble I've been having. Oh, hold on. I'm getting a call. Hold on. It was a spam call. I picked it up because I was worried it was going to be something about the girls being at school, but they got me. Okay, so back to the garden. So this side of the garden I am planning to plant up with all sun transition plants, meaning plants that can handle the sun but also can handle the shade. And here, my Surefire Rose Begonia is the perfect example of that. You can see, we've already had 2 or 3 frosts this year. It's been kind of a cold winter, late fall and winter, and it's looking absolutely beautiful. And it handles shade, and then it handled the blazing hot sun that it got all summer long. So this is a great sun transition plant. So I'll be looking for some more sun transition plants that can handle the sun and handle the shade, at least for this side over here. Now, for this side over here, real close to the house, this side gets shade all year long. I'm not worried about this side. It's totally fine, except for right here at the end, which it does get some late afternoon sun just because my evergreen clematis hasn't completely grown in yet. But what I am doing today is I am planting my December blooming garden. So every month of this year, I've been planting plants that are blooming at that particular time of year with the goal of I'll be able to walk through my garden next year and I'll be able to have something blooming every single year. And it's been so much fun. It's been kind of difficult once you get to months like December and January to really find something that is blooming. But if you look hard enough, you can usually find something. So I was really worried about December trying to find something. I knew I could do Camellia sasanqua. That's a really good one that's always blooming in December. Like my Yuletide Camellia is blooming right now, and my Showa no Sakai is blooming right now. Really beautiful. But I wanted to kind of push myself a little bit more, and the solution came to me quite easily because I was at Michael Glassman's house. Michael Glassman, a landscape designer, and I are currently writing a book together. It should be out, I think, in February, I would say. And where we write is at his dining room table, and he has these windows where you can look out and you can see this whole little shady garden area. And his soft caress Mahonia was blooming absolutely beautifully when I was there last week. And so, of course, I had to run to the garden center and I had to get myself some soft crest Mahonia. I have been looking forward to this plant. It is a very common plant for where I live because it is zones, let's see, 7B to 10 is what it is. It's a part shade to shade plant, 3 to 4 feet tall, 3 to 4 feet wide. But it's just the most beautiful plant. I would think of this plant more for foliage than for blooms, honestly, because that's what it's known for. Normally, Mahonia has like little thorny things that you don't really want to touch, but this one has been bred to be super, super soft, and I just love the fringy nature of it. I've had my eye on this plant for a while, but as soon as I saw it blooming, it blooms late fall to early winter, right around this time, which is perfect. As soon as I saw it blooming in Michael Glassman's yard, I thought, December blooming garden, perfect. So I got 3 of those to put over on this side of my secret garden, the shade side. And then while I was there, of course, I saw my absolute favorite, technically annual, but for us it's a perennial, cyclamen. And I have to show you this one that I found. So this is called Allure Pure White, but look at that. Isn't that neat that it's kind of reverting back? Look at that. Isn't that the coolest thing? So I had to get my hands on this. I got 5 of these. I love these. These will overwinter for us, but you have to make sure that the conditions are right. You're supposed to like not water them during the summer. They're supposed to go dormant during the summer and all that kind of stuff. I did plant some last year back there underneath the olive tree, and I don't think they're coming back. I think that they died. I don't think they made it through the summer. So I'm going to plant these. I'm going to see how they do right in front of the soft crest Mahonia. But I'm just so happy to finally get my hands on a plant that I've known for so long. I've wanted to have in my garden, and now I have it. So I'm planning to plant my December blooming garden actually right here, right where this Color Blaze Mini Me Chartreuse Coleus is. Now this plant I planted here because I thought it was going to be short. It said 12 to 20 inches is what the stats are for this plant. You can see, well, I don't know if you can, but like this goes up to my hip basically. So I think it was just really happy in this place for me. It was super happy in the ground, lots of shade, lots of moisture. Man, it just got really, really big. So just be aware of that. This is a new Color Blaze for next year, I would say. It's coming out in 2025 for Proven Winners. It's called Mini Me, but if it's happy, it definitely doesn't stay Mini Me. Just know that. So anyway, I think because this is a coleus, it's going to succumb to frost. I'm shocked that it's lasted, but this is obviously a well-protected area. So I'm going to take these guys out. Right here behind that, this is a Pearl Maxwell camellia. This is a Camellia japonica, so it's not really going to start blooming until probably January. But if you can see the buds on it, it's going to be pretty. I got to clean off the leaves. But that one is going to be absolutely beautiful. And then over here, I have some heuchera. That here where I live, the heuchera stays evergreen. So that will be really pretty. And I'm thinking about just taking this stuff out and planting it right there. I think that'll be a perfect spot for it. So let's get going. is done. Of course, not as showy as, you know, April, May, June blooming gardens, but I still think it's really pretty, and it's fun to see a foliage plant, which normally is a foliage plant, bloom these cute little blooms. And apparently the pollinators are supposed to go crazy over them. So I'll keep you all updated on how this Mahonia Soft Caress does. Again, it zones 7B to 10. It gets 3 to 4 feet tall and 3 to 4 feet wide, and it is full shade to part shade, or like Michael Glassman has it in dappled shade, and it's doing absolutely beautifully. It's a really, really great plant. And then, oh, I'm so excited for my Pearl Maxwell camellias to come. This is one of the Nuccio camellias. Beautiful. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous plant. Buds all over it. Very exciting. And then cyclamen. You can't go wrong with cyclamen, especially when they have little stripes of pink on it. So cute. Love it. So as for December garden maintenance, we are in that kind of awkward phase of the season where the foliage is starting to fall off the trees, but it's not all the way off yet. Like you can see over here, the black walnut tree is starting to lose all its leaves, but it's not done yet. So we're kind of, Jason and I are kind of going back and forth. Like sometimes we'll clean up a little bit, but knowing that, you know, just tomorrow there's going to be 10 times as many leaves. So it's just that kind of awkward stage. But really, everything is looking really, really beautiful these days in the garden. I'm really enjoying it. So as always, let me know in the comment section below what you all are planting in your local December blooming garden. Let us know the area that you live in just so we can get some good ideas. I am having so much fun with this series. I'm considering continuing it. So I started in February of this past year, and so I'm going to go through January, and then I'm thinking about keeping it going because there's still more options. Like there's, of course, you get into the spring and summer months, there's tons of options for blooming gardens, blooming plants at that time. But like I said, it's this time of year. It's November, December, January, where it's tough to find something that's going to bloom in your area. And I get it. For those of you who live in cooler environments, it's even more difficult. But just finding something that you can dedicate to that month to know you're going to have something beautiful to look at, I think is really the point of this exercise and what makes it so fun. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this. I'm off to pick the girls up from school. We'll see what their reaction is to getting evacuated. I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.